Jack Bech, yesterday, as most of you saw, announced he would be entering the transfer portal. A move that shocked many in the LSU fan base just right after Kayshon Boutte shocked everyone in the fan base by returning. It really is definitely shocking to see that Kayshon Boutte would return for another season, and then a player like Jack, sophomore, LSU legacy, would leave the program. But when you look at what's going on and what's happened to Jack this season, it really is not that shocking. Something I actually prepared for and kind of talked about many times on our post-game show, many times in our writing. I was even at one point saying, are we trying to force Jack Bech to transfer here? When Jack Bech is on the sidelines and not getting any opportunities, and he sees Kyron Lacey drop back-to-back third down passes, and yet Jaden Daniels goes right back to Lacey, and Lacey actually gets hurt on the play and just barely does not convert the third down. Once again, another third down target, 3 third down targets, 2 drops. You had to feel, if you were Jack Bech, like, wow, okay, that's the death knell. At first I didn't want to be a tight end my first season. I played out of position and I excelled. And then I wanted to be a receiver, and now they didn't want me to be a receiver. They moved me to a punt returner, kick returner. He excelled there at first with a punt return touchdown that was called back because of a really stupid ticky-tack flag. And everyone was going, that's our punt return, that's our guy. And then the fumbles happened against Tennessee, against Florida. And suddenly it was Jack Bech went from a football god, football Adonis in the eyes of LSU Nation, LSU fan base, LSU coaching staff, to they were very uncertain about what he was going to bring to the offense anymore, what he could bring. And, when you don't give a player an opportunity to show you what they can bring, you'll never find that out anyway. Let's just be honest. When you look at the numbers, Jack Bech, he has like 8th most targets, 9th most targets, maybe even 10th most on the team. It's way low on the bottom. A shocking number. I think like 20-something targets this entire season. Only under 200 yards, maybe over just slightly. The 1 touchdown. But then you look at, Boutte and Neighbors. Of course, they put up more yards and catches because they had far more targets. But even those 2 players just had 1 more touchdown than Jack. That's the type of offense we were dealing with this season. Run first, very heavy run. Tight end sets, 4 tight end sets, all this craziness. 2 receivers at the most. Our empty set was like 2 or 3 receivers. It was a joke. But, it was winning us games. So we sacrificed certain players and their reps to continue that aesthetic of offense. To continue to let Jaden Daniels do his thing. But even in the games where Jaden Daniels needed to pass his way to victory, he would look away from Jack Bech many times, a wide open Jack Bech, many times. Jack Bech was still running really good routes this season, even when they were talking about his injuries and this and that. It's just very strange how one season, his freshman year, he's a football god in the eyes of everyone, and he's this Louisiana celebrity. He's on all the media shows. Everyone's talking to him like he's the number 1 player. Brian Kelly's singing his praises after a question we asked during a press conference. and singing his praises in a way that made it quite obvious Kelly was going to count on him as a key player, right? He's selected to represent the team at SEC Media Days. And then you go from that, catching 2 touchdowns in the spring game as well, showing out throughout spring. And then he has some, injury concerns during fall camp. And because of those injury concerns, suddenly he was just sent down the pecking order, and he was never able to really get back. There were things that happened against him. There are things that, the fumbles as well. But, you can't really put the fumbles completely on him when you're talking about a special teams coordinator that is an absolute disaster. Still, Jack Bech shouldn't be fumbling the football. And he knows that. But you just look at this season, and it's extremely unlucky for Jack. The play where, in the SEC title game, where he breaks his finger, where Jaden Daniels throws it up high instead of in the breadbasket, his hands get clapped up high, he falls down, and the ball bounces off his helmet and goes right into the hands of a Georgia corner. That was Jack's season in a nutshell. Just no matter what he was doing, no matter what he was giving on the field, no matter how hard he was working, it seemed like everything was working against him this season. And he's going to go somewhere and be a fantastic player when he actually gets the opportunities, because we've seen it here at LSU. Jack Bech can be one of the most explosive, electrifying players on the field. And it's a real shame that he was not able to show those qualities in year 2, because they were still there. It's just when you give a guy 3 targets a game or less and then kind of alienate him and make him a punt returner or a kick returner or nothing at all, and all this weird type of kind of behind-the-scenes politics with his position on the team, his status on the team, it's you're not going to get the best out of a player. You're going to really rile up the confidence of that player. And so for Jack, this is the best move. No one loves LSU in that locker room more than Jack. With his LSU legacy, his uncles both played at LSU. One has a national title ring. The other was a dynamic receiver by himself as well in the 90s, playing with a quarterback by the name of Jamie Howard. And that's another thing, This LSU legacy means so much to Jack, and to see it taken away, this decision forced upon him. He didn't want to leave LSU. This is a business decision he had to make. He was forced into making. For some weird reason, they're not going to give him an opportunity at LSU. And he's seen the writing on the wall since January in the Texas Bowl. Feeling erased by the program that he really, he propped up the corpse of last year in 2021. Really gave the fans some excitement in a year of desperate scandal and off-field just shenanigans from Coach O. Jack Bech was a guiding light. And I just want to personally thank him for his friendship, for him showing everything about LSU to me. Showing me Death Valley, showing me the locker room, for his family being such amazing people. I mean, we're gonna make it no secret. We've made it no secret that Jack Bech is a favorite player of ours, just like Malik is. But when you know a family, and you come to see the soul of a family, Jack's family, you come to really understand more about that person, and you come to really root for that person a lot more. That's just natural. And Jack's going to be successful wherever he goes. It's just why he wasn't given an opportunity at LSU, why this happened when some of the receiving options put ahead of him weren't always quite delivering. Makes no sense. For me, the best lineup was always Booty, Bech, Neighbors. Put those three on the field if you can only have three receivers, and those three would have complemented each other perfectly. But we're not going to see that. And that's another shameful, sad what if in LSU history here. You know, Jack's leaving behind a school where he's got plenty of friends. He's one of the most popular guys in that locker room, and it's really kind of, I would say, probably devastating some of these kids to see one of their good friends have to go like this. So this is just the realities of modern day college football. But at the same time, losing a player of Jack's caliber, of his leadership, of his grit, of his toughness, of his just love for LSU, that hurts the program always. It's the decision he had to make. Jack Bech will always be a favorite Tiger of ours, always be someone who we absolutely will be following every step of his career wherever he goes, and someone will always remember what he did at LSU. The one-handed catch, the sick back of the end zone catch against Arkansas, the one-handed catch against Central Michigan, the brilliant performance against Auburn, the touchdown at Alabama as a freshman, the game he almost won had the passes been a little more accurate from Max Johnson. It feels like maybe the coaching staff didn't trust or care about last year's tape. And I understand last year was last year, but maybe it would have helped them to better utilize Jack in complementary form next to Booty and Neighbors and really get the best out of that receiving core. But this team was not interested in passing the football. Only unless they had, held a gun to their head were they forced to pass the football. And there were times where they threw to Jack and he was explosive this season. But it was the way that the passing game was, there was never much after the catch to be had. And so you didn't really get to see the full, untamed receiving core here. And that's a big missed opportunity. Luckily for LSU fans, Kayshon Boutte is coming back, so we're not going to be without both Bech and Boutte in the receiving core, and with Jaray Jenkins also leaving. That would be quite catastrophic. But seeing, someone who repped Louisiana, repped Lafayette, repped his family LSU legacy on every snap, gave everything for LSU, wanted this to work out with all of his heart, the school he dreamed about playing for, the school that overlooked him for quite some time until it was almost too late. But he got on the team, and like a fairy tale, he took off as a freshman too, playing and acting years beyond his age. But it just was not to be. It was not to be for some reason. And if you think this was an easy decision for Jack, you are mistaken. But that's what I'm going to say about it. Love to Jack, respect to Jack, and I know there's going to be success for Jack.